Jason Schultz here, founder of the Beer Money Pulling Team, and today we're going to answer some of the questions that you guys have sent in that you wanted to ask me.
What is the biggest turbo you've seen on a tractor or truck?
The biggest turbo I've seen on a tractor or truck would be today's Pro Stock Turbo, the big 6.5-inch one that the big Grand National NTPA pros are running, or a Champions Tour Pro from PPL. I saw some of them down at Louisville. I never got inside exactly, but I know I've heard that 6.5 inch is the biggest turbo, and I know the Pro Stocks are pushing close to 5,000 or more horsepower now.
Are you coming to the CALP tractor pull in April?
I'm not sure yet. I'm good friends with the Massetti family who owns MLM Motorsports, and I think Trevor, is it Trevor or James? I think Trevor goes to Cal Poly. We talked a little bit about it with it last year, so need to know the dates on it, and if we have an open weekend, we'll jump out there and maybe bring one of our videographers with us, and we'll shoot some content out there. But it'd be awesome. I love Cal Poly. I also talked to some other some students that go to colleges that, like ABAAC, I think they're out of Tennessee or Kentucky. They invited us to come down to a pull as well. And these schools actually have pulling teams inside their schools. So anything that we can do to grow the sport like that is amazing.
What got you interested in the sport, and how did you get into tractor pulling?
Started going to truck and tractor pulls with my dad. ITPA, Iowa Tractor Pulling Association, as long as I can remember. Remember going to little brush pulls like Blairstown, Iowa, Marengo, Iowa. Just time with my dad, and always wanted my own tractor. If you follow us or you watch any of our podcasts, you know I love the Ernie Rops Iron Elk from Kelowna, Iowa. That was a tractor that I fell in love with as a kid. Dad bought some equipment from them, so I was able to always sit on the tractor. So that Iron Elk was that thing. For me, that was my one tractor back in the day. I still love the John Deere 4430. I don't want one. I love the Remedy. I love Case IH. Case IH does way more for pulling than John Deere ever has. But I just love, that was the tractor that got me going. But my dad is the reason that I got into this. And my dad had bought this tractor from the Joker. It'd be like a Pro Farm tractor today from Mike LaBarge, and pulled with East Central Iowa. And that tractor is what made me go back to my dad's every weekend instead of every other weekend. And then the time we spent in the vehicle going to and from the pulls are the memories I'll have for the rest of my life. Just talking about growing up and being a man, and talking about sports, and talking about girls, and just talking about life. Those 2 to 3 hours that we had going to the pull and from the pull, those are my best memories ever from my dad. And then I always said I wanted my own tractor someday. And then now we actually have our own tractor now, and I'm going to let Dad drive it because he's a better driver than me, and I don't have time. But my dad is the reason that I got into the sport of truck and tractor pulling.
Where financially do you have to be to start pulling?
Well, for me, everybody thinks I make all this money off of YouTube and Facebook, and we do okay on it, but it doesn't pay the bills. I have a real job. I'm a mortgage lender. I've built an amazing team, and we do loans in every state but New York. I work for a national company. I'm an area manager now. And you got to have a good job. But to pull like at a super stock level, you got to have some sponsorship. But if you want to pull garden tractors, or if you want to pull, stock classes or entry level classes, you can do that. I don't work on my own stuff. I don't know how. I talked about my dad earlier in this interview, that I went down, and when I got to his house, the tractor was loaded. I never got to get into the wrenching part of it. So that is one thing that I wish I would have been able to actually, really work on it. But I go down for the weekend, and that was always the pulling, and they worked on it during the week. So I missed out on that, and I never got that mechanical background part of it. I think that's kind of what really inspired me to start announcing pulls when I was earlier. And then when social media became so popular, I felt like that was something I could do to put more eyeballs on the sport and ultimately put more fans in the stands. So if you want a pro stock, you're going to have to make a lot of money. I don't know if there's any sponsorships out there that entirely pay for entire teams. If you talk to people, they have good jobs, they own their own businesses, big farmers, different things like that. And anybody that really seems to have a gigantic sponsor, that's either their company or it's somebody that they do business with and they spend a lot of money with on the business side of it, and they help each other out.
Which tractor at the farm show did you like the best?
Like the best?
Yeah.
Like the best. Whew. Obviously, I love diesel super stocks now that we own one. Seeing Colin Ross beat the alcohol tractors, that's pretty awesome. I have so much respect for Blackburns and all those top alcohol tractors, but to see Colin beat them, and then I don't know how Travis kept the bone twister in balance during the finals, but he did keep it in balance. I've seen enough video views now. Really proud of Cameron Neves with Cotton Candy. He only puts 3 motors on that, or 3 engines on that tractor for the Pullers Championships, which is May 17th and 18th. coming up this year and the farm show. Otherwise, he runs twins all summer long. And for him to get second in that stacked mod class, I know Simon won with Owens's, and who else? The Bollingers were there. It's pretty amazing. Dirt Slinger was there. Those are some of the biggest names in the modified world. And for him to get second there, basically with a 3-engine setup when normally runs 2, it's probably the most impressive thing for me this weekend at the farm show.
If you could own one pulling vehicle besides what you have, what would it be?
That's a good question, Chandler. I would say an unlimited. Probably Billy Beer's War Wagon. I love five engines on something. It's pretty awesome. That is such an amazing sport. Never had been around the Unlimiteds a lot until past summer when I started hanging out with the Full Pull gang and doing some promotional stuff for them. Really getting to know like Dave Richardson, Billy Beers, Wayne Purser, Joe Eater, that gang, the Bollingers, all the Unlimited guys. It's pretty awesome. And growing up as a kid, seeing Makin' Bacon special with 8 motors on it and the banters at the Iowa State Fair back in the day, and now know they're making more horsepower with 4 or 5 engines is pretty awesome. So I would say if I could have one, I'd want Billy Beers' War Wagon.
Would you ever come to a pull overseas?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, we got invited to go to Mata this year, but just buying Mike Beck's High-Tech Redneck and converting it over to the Remedy, I don't want to go over there until we really know that we have a good tractor and it's running well. And honestly, I don't want to be gone for 6 weeks because it sounds like the tractor would need to leave in May or April, and we really wouldn't see it back until July. And we'd miss probably half of the summer. And I think there'll come a day, then we can take it over there and maybe leave it over there for a whole summer and campaign it over there. I know there's a big push for it right now to get Diesel Supers over there. Shout out to Hans Boxler Jr., who's taking the special over there. It's actually loading up right now. But yeah, someday I want to, but just I want to enjoy it and let Doug Meisinger get it running and let my dad get comfortable driving it before we put it on a container ship and take it across the pond.
What is the best category of a pulling machine?
The best, I'm a diesel. I love diesel. Grew up on diesel. That's all I know. I feel like there's either spark plug guys and gals or there's diesel guys and gals. I grew up on diesel. I love pro stocks, but super stock diesel is the best class in pulling. If you've never stood beside it at the starting line when a 4-charger or a 3-turbocharged diesel super stock starts a light, you don't know what you're missing. Because pro stocks are cool. They go womp, womp, womp. But diesel supers, those twin stacks, and that old smoke starts to swirl, turn from white to gray to black. It's awesome, and the sounds that they make. So by far, the diesel super stock class is amazing. That's really what got pulling into the main level, and then they just couldn't keep a block in them. A lot of fun to watch. So I'm gonna take diesel super stock for the win.
Can you inform us on the different types of pulling equipment?
Yeah, there's all kinds of different kinds. There's the mini rods, the mini modified, which is a single engine on a chassis. I call that the bull riding of truck and tractor pulling. You have truck pulling. You can either go gas or you can go diesel. 2-wheel drives, obviously, it's just a rear-wheel drive machine, basically with one big motor in it. And then all the diesel classes. Pulling does such a bad job of naming its classes. Like we took like 5 words and we named like 30 different classes: hot, super, pro, farm, and light and limited. I wish some people took more time and gave the classes a little more distinct flavors. Maybe they will do that in the future. But yeah, they're legitimately, if something can make horsepower, you can hook it to the sled and have a lot of fun with it. So, but you got the minis, you got the 2-wheelers, you got the 4-wheelers, you got all the tractor classes, and obviously you got the multi-engine modifieds.
What was the first truck or tractor that you ever built? So
I got to drive my dad's D21 back in the day, Blackjack, but my first pulling tractor was an International 856 that is now owned by Tony McMullen. It's called the Bad Influence. It's got a black hood and black side panels on it. It's an 85 Limited Pro now. Back then for me, it was I pulled in the farm stock class with East Central Iowa. I think they were 8 mile an hour or 10 mile an hour. I had a narrow front end on it when it was in the 7 and the 8, or maybe the 8 and the 9. And then I put a wide front end on it and I pulled in 11 and the 12. But I was only at 407 with an 856. And I was pulling against the bigger 466s and the 540s. So I kept that tractor for a couple years. Then I sold it and I just helped Dad out with his. And then in 2012 is when I got kind of into more regional level pulling or state level pulling. I bought the Hot Farm, the 1206, which was the first Remedy, and that was in 2012. And then in 2015, built the 4.1 Limited Pro, and then now in 2024, we're going to have the Diesel Superstock Remedy. So, but my first tractor was an 856, and it's still out there today. Tony McMullen has it and doing a good job with it in the 85 Limited Pro.
I think that's it.